Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today, showing you all the win totals for the college football teams for the 2021 college football season 14. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate you do that. College football predictions are right around the corner. I am releasing my top 25 preseason top 25 on June 1st. So that is a week from Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, I'm just gonna give you my wall of thoughts about every team's over under. And here we go. So all 130. Right here we start off with Air Force at 6.5. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Mountain West and Conference USA, I really don't know that much about either one of those conferences, especially the Mountain West. Um, honestly probably know most about the American Sun Belt, honestly. And if you want, well, I'll announce that in a later video. But there will be predictions involving Conference USA and Mountain West teams on this channel, so I obviously have to get into that. But anyways, I'll take the over 6.5. I'll say they get to 7-8 wins. They were in 2019, 2018. I know they were like a 10-11 win team. Some people thought in 2020 they could have been a really good team as well. I don't really know much about Air Force, but I'll take the over there. Akron at 2.5. Um, Akron they're coming off I think a 2-win season or a 1-win season at 2.5. All they have to do is win 3. And I'm going to take it over under all of these. I'm not doing a hold on them. Man, that's a tough one. I'm going to take the under because Akron's one of the worst teams in college football. Alabama at 11.5. I'm going to take the over there. I think they go undefeated. I really do. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over at 11.5. Appalachian State, amount of years. Can you imagine a few years ago if I would have told you that Appalachian State would have been the third best team in the Sun Belt and they're still winning 9-10 games a season? I mean, that is crazy. But anyways, Appalachian State at 9. That's a good number for them. I'm going to take the under because I know they have Miami on the non-conference schedule. I don't know who else they have, but I'm going to take the under on that. Arizona at 2.5. This is one I'm going to take the under as well. I think they're the worst team in the Pac-12 by far. I don't even think it's close. Arizona State at 9. That's a good number for them. I am going to take the under though. That schedule's more tricky, more difficult than it looks. Arkansas Razorbacks at 5.5. That is a good number for them. A lot of people are high on this team, which means I'm going to take the under because I actually do think that Arkansas is still a year out. So I'm going to take the under at 5.5. Arkansas State at 3.5. I will take the over on that. I think Bush Jones at least gets them to a bowl game. Army at 8. Did they play 13 games this year? If they play 13 games, I might be willing to take the over, but if they're only playing 12, I might take the under. You know what? I'm going to take the over. I think that's a good number for them. I'll say they get to 9 for the purposes of this video. Auburn at 7. I'm actually going to take the under here. Auburn's schedule is very difficult. They have Penn State on the road in the non-conference. I think they might only get to 6 wins. Ball State at 8. I'm taking the over. Ball State and Buffalo are the two best teams in the MAC, and it's not even close. Give me Ball State with the over at 8. Baylor at 5.5. Can they get to 6 wins? Part of me says yes. Part of me says no. So I'm actually going to take the under on that. Boise State at 9. I'm taking the over. I don't know. Maybe outside of Air Force, maybe Air Force has a decent season. We already talked about them. I don't know who's going to compete at least in the Mountain Division with Boise State. Boston College at 7. I am taking the over. I do think that Boston College might get to 9 wins. Bowling Green at 1.5. They won't beat my Terps, but I'm going to go ahead and take the over. I'll say they at least get to 2. Buffalo at 8.5. Now, they do have a new head coach at Buffalo. If you haven't heard, Legport, I think that's how you pronounce it. He left for Kansas. So, they do have a new coach. He brought in one of the Michigan assistants. I'm going to say over because I still think that team's really good. BYU at 6.5. I'll take the over because they were really good last year. I don't think they'll drop off as much as 6.5 wins. Cal at 5.5. Cal's a very experienced team. I think you get really good value if you take the over. Central Michigan at 6.5. I'll take the over. I mean, they'll Jim McElrain, he'll get them to 7-8 wins. Charlotte at 4.5. I like their coach. I'll take the over because I like their coach. Cincinnati at 10. God, that's a good number for Cincinnati. But I'm going to take the over. I'm going to say they only lose one game for the purposes of this video. Clemson at 11.5. The smart thing to do is take the under, honestly, of Clemson. But I'm actually going to take the over because I do think I'll go on record. I actually think I've been on record before on this channel. I'm going on record saying that Clemson's beating Georgia week 1. Coastal Carolina at 10. Their non-conference schedule is easy, so I'm going to take the over. Colorado at 4.5. I don't know what to think of Colorado. I mean, yeah, Colorado 4.5. Colorado State's also 4.5. More on them here in a second. I don't know what to think of Colorado. They were a surprise last year. I'm going to take the over and say they'll at least fighting for a bowl game and get to 5 wins. But I don't know what to think of Colorado. Colorado State at 4.5. I'm going to take the over as well for Colorado State. I like Steve Adizo. You know, I always have trouble pronouncing that name, but anyways, I'll take the over for Colorado and Colorado State. UConn at 2.5. I'm taking the under. They didn't even play last year, so I don't even know what you're getting out of them. So I'm taking the under. Duke at 3.5. That's a tough number there for Duke. I am going to take the over because I believe in Cutcliffe, though. I mean, that's really the only reason why. East Carolina 4.5. I don't even know really. I'll take the under. Um, I'll take the under, yeah, because I mean they're in that division of Cincinnati, UCF. So I'll go ahead and take the under. Eastern Michigan at 6.5. I'll take the under there. I'm not high on their head coach at all. FIU at 4.5. They were terrible last year. I'll take the under. Florida at 9. That's a good number for Florida. But if you want me to be honest though, I have to take the under because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see Florida being any better than 9-3, so I gotta take the under. FAU at 7. FAU they're really taggers. That's enough reason for me to take the under. Florida State at 5.5. I would take the over here. Now, a lot of people think they have 5 guaranteed losses on that schedule. One of them being Notre Dame week 1. I don't think that's a guaranteed loss. And the more I look at this Florida State team, the more higher I get on them. I'm taking the over. I think they could very well get to 7-8 wins. Fresno State at 6. I'll take the over because they have a good reputation. Georgia at 10.5. I'm taking the over. I think they're running through everybody besides Clemson on their schedule. Personally, at least in the SEC, they have Georgia Tech and they probably have 2 no names in the non-con. So give me the over. Georgia State at 5.5. Give me the over. I like their coach Sean Elliott a lot. Give me the over there. Georgia Southern at 4.5. Can they be that team that's kind of maybe like a little bit of oddball out in the Sun Belt? Because I mean, Louisiana Lafayette is not going to be that good. I don't think South Alabama is going to be that good right away. Can they be the oddball out that's maybe only a 4 or 5 win team, but they might be a little bit better than that? I'm going to say take the over because they do win a triple option, but basically, it could be one of those things. Georgia Tech at 4.5. I'm gonna take the over. I still think Georgia Tech's a year out from turning heads. They may turn heads this year for all we know, but I'll take the over because I think they'll at least get to 5-6 wins. But I don't know if you're gonna get anything above 6 wins, honestly. Hawaii at 6. They play 13 games. I'm gonna take the over. I mean, they were a bit of a surprise last year. I'll take the over and say they go above 500. Houston at 8. I'm taking the under. I do think they'll win some this year, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to be any better than 8-4. Illinois at 3. Oh, God, that's a tough number for Illinois. I'm going to say over because I like Brett Beamer. That's the only reason why. I do think they made an excellent hire there at Illinois. Indiana at 8. I'm actually kind of inclined to take the under here of Indiana. I personally think Indiana took advantage of a very weak Big Ten East last year. I think Michigan and Penn State are going to bounce back to some degree, at least make a bowl game at a minimum, both of them. So I'm going to say they probably fall to one of those two. I think Maryland is going to be better. Michigan State and Rutgers. Well, I'll put Rutgers separately. Michigan State's not going to be good. Rutgers is going to be competitive. They'll lose to Ohio State most likely. So, and they have I know they have Iowa out of the West. That's a tricky game on the road there, and so and they have Cincinnati as well. I'm more inclined to take the under there. Iowa at 8.5. I'm going to take the over. One team, Wisconsin and Iowa are the two teams in the Big Ten West, in my opinion, fighting for that. One's going 10-2, one's going 9-3. Give me the over there. Iowa State at 9.5. I'm going to be honest with you. I do think that they're a bit overrated, but at the same time, I gotta take the over of that number because I personally think they're going either 10-2 or 11-1. They're not going undefeated, but I already looked at their schedule. I don't know if they're going any. I don't know if they're going to be any worse than 10-2, and I don't think they're definitely not going to be worse than 9-3. That I can tell you. So I kind of have to take the over there, even though I'm not. I think they're a bit overrated. Kansas at 1. My God, Power 5 team at over under at 1. I like the head coach hire a lot, but I think it's going to take some time. I gotta take the over here because hell, if you win one game, that's a hit. So I'll take the over. Kansas State at 5.5. I like their coach a lot. I gotta take the over here. Now I could see them maybe struggling to get to a bowl game though. I could see that, and maybe they're left out 5-7. But I like Chris Kielma a lot. That I think he actually gets you to more like 7 wins. So give me the over there. And by the way, if you're at Kansas State, if you're recruiting up against Oklahoma, if you're Chris Kielma, you can say you're undefeated against Lincoln Riley. I mean, you're 2-0 against him. Just saying. Kent State at 5. I actually like their head coach a lot. They're over at Kent State. So I'm going to take the over. I say they go bowling. Kentucky at 7. I'm going to take the over. I think they at least get to 8 wins personally. They're at Kentucky. So give me the over there. I think that's easy money, honestly. Liberty at 9. They'll bring back a pretty good team. I do not know, however, about the schedule. I am going to take the over because I do think they could get to 10 wins, but I don't know enough about the schedule to absolutely go there. But I'll take the over for the purposes of this video. Louisiana 9.5. I'm taking the over of Louisiana 9.5. I personally think they at least get to 10 wins. Give me the over. Most experienced team in college football. UL Monroe. I got them at they're at 1.5. I mean that is a tough number. I'll go ahead and take the over and say they get to 2, but I mean I don't know if they get more than 2-3 wins. Louisiana Tech at 4.5. I like Skip Holt, so I'm going to take the over, but it might only be at 5-7, honestly. Louisville at 6.5. Give me the under. They're going to struggle to make a bowl game. Their offense is too big play. Their defense is terrible. I'll honestly take the under with Louisville. LSU at 8.5. The more I look at LSU, the more I like them, and the more I think they could bounce back and get to 9-10 wins. So I'm going to take the over. Marshall at 7.5. They bring in a new head coach. They can actually let go of their head coach. They decide not to resign him. I'll take the over because they've been pretty good for the past decade or so. At 7.5. My Maryland Terps at 5.5. Over. We'll make it a bowl game this year, so I'm taking the over on that. 5.5. UMass at 1.5. I don't even know. I mean, I might just take the under on this. Honestly, I don't. I mean, they might not even get more than 1 win. I'm sure there's a win on that schedule, but I'll just take the under. Memphis at 8.5. Can Memphis bounce back? They're in a very tough division there with SMU. Houston, I think, is going to win some. Tulsa. So, I mean, that's kind of a tough division there. I'll take the over, but it might only be at 9-10 wins. Mississippi State at 5.5. I'm going to take the over. I think Mike Leach gets to a bowl game this year. Miami at 9.5. Under. Listen, I have to take the under because I don't think they're going any better than 10-2. So I gotta take the under. Miami of Ohio, 4.5. I'm gonna go ahead and man, I mean didn't they just win the MAC? And you're telling me 4.5? I gotta take the over on that. I don't know enough about them. I could be doing that very blindly, but I gotta take the over on that. Michigan at 8. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. The more I look at Michigan, the more I think they can honestly get to. The more I think they can honestly get to 9 wins. But I gotta take the under because that's kind of the narrative right now. So give me the under there, even though I think it's very possible they go 8-4. Michigan State at 4. I'm taking the under. I don't know if this team even gets to 3 wins, honestly. I think some people are really overrating them. So give me the under. Middle Tennessee at 5. They have a good coach there, and he was actually on the hot seat video. So go check out the college football hot seat video. But I gotta go ahead and take the man, that's a tough number. I was thinking taking the over, and I'm thinking kind of the under. You know what? Purposes of this video, I'm taking the over. I say to get in a bowl game, Middle Tennessee. Minnesota at 7. I'm taking the under, even though I do think they go 7-5 because that's the person. I already looked at their schedule. I already looked at all the Big Ten schedules for the most part. Um, I do think Minnesota the most likely outcome is 7-5, but but I'm going to take the under because I mean, they could go 8-4, but it most likely is 7-5, 6-6. So give me the under. Missouri at 7. Give me the over. I think Kentucky and Missouri. I think both of them are going to get above 7 wins. So give me the over there. Navy at 3.5. Give me the over. Navy's going to bounce back. Give me the over. NC State at 6. I gotta take the over here because I do think they could very well get to 9 wins. But overall, I mean, do you trust Dave Doran? The answer is no. Nebraska at 6. That's a tough number for them. I'm going to take the under because I can't trust them to get to 7. Or even 6, really. Nevada at 7.5. Some people have this team slated as the favorite, at least in the West Division in the Mountain West. Um, it's between them and San Jose State. I'm going to take the over, but I do like their head coach, but I mean, it might only be at 8-9 wins. New Mexico at 4. Can they might take advantage of a weak Mountain Division. Personally, in my opinion, outside of Boise State, there's probably only going to be 1 or 2 other teams making a bowl game in that division. I am going to take the under though because that team's not good. New Mexico State at 2, under. That team is the worst team in college football besides maybe UConn and UMass. North Carolina at 10. God, that is a very tempting number. But I'm going to take the under. Because I personally think they might only be 10-2. And I don't know if they're going to be better than 10-2. So I'm going to take the under. North Texas at 4. Man, North Texas, a few years ago, people were talking about their head coach of getting a promotion to the Power 5. Now their over-under's at 4. Yeah, man. I'm gonna take the over and say you probably get to 5 most likely because the Conference USA, at least the bottom tier of it's pretty weak, and maybe they could take advantage of that. Northern Illinois at 4. Under that team's terrible. Northwestern at 6.5. They do lose a lot, but never count out Pat Fitzgerald. Even though it is very possible they only go 6-6, I'm going to take the over there and give Pat Fitzgerald the benefit out of the doubt there. Notre Dame at 9. A lot of people think Notre Dame might only win 7-8 games. I don't know if will buy into that. I mean, I looked at their schedule as well. To be honest, I think Notre Dame could be right there, 10-11 wins. So I'm going to take the over. Ohio at 6.5. I mean, they are one of the better MAC teams, so I'll take the over. But at the same time, a lot of these MAC teams and Mountain West teams, I don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into. Conference USA to a lesser degree. So, I'm going to take the over because I know that they're usually one of the better MAC teams at 6.5. Ohio State at 11 over. I think Ohio State's going to run through everybody on their schedule with the exception of Oregon, but they are going to go ahead and win that game as well, in my opinion. Oklahoma at 11. I mean, Canada. here's the question for Oklahoma. And the thing is, if this hits 11, which I am going to take the over one because if it does hit 11, I do get it is a hit as well. The question is though, can you not lose to Kansas State? Can you not lose to TCU? Can you not lose to Texas? I mean, you can't. I mean, Oklahoma. I personally think they win every game on their schedule. I forget their non-conference schedule. I don't know if they have a big game or not in the non-conference schedule, but I personally do think that they went through everybody on their schedule, or at least beat them. Oklahoma State at 7.5 over. The more I look at this team, the more I think they could get to 9 wins. Honestly, give me the over on that at 7.5. Old Dominion, they didn't even play last year. 3.5 under. I don't know what we're getting out of them. I actually think 3.5 is being a bit nice for not playing this past season. So I'm going to take the under there. Ole Miss at 7.5. I'm going to take the over. But I don't think they get to 10 wins. I don't think they get to 10 wins, but I'll take the over at 7.5. Oregon at 9. I've seen a few people take the under on this, believe it or not, but I'm going to take the over. I think they probably get to 10, 11 wins most likely. I do think they lose to Ohio State, and they probably do lose one to someone in Pac-12. But I mean, still 10 wins. Give me the over. Oregon State at 4.5. Some people are really high on that head coach. He did beat Oregon last year. I mean, I do think they lose a lot personally. Um, I mean, I don't know what to think of Oregon State at 4.5. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say over, but it might only be at 5 wins. Penn State at 9 under. Because I don't think they're going any better than 9-3. Pitt at 7. The thing with Pitt, though, here's the thing with Pitt, and I'm going to say this about Virginia, too. I don't think Georgia Tech's quite there. I'm not high on Virginia Tech and Duke. We already talked about them. One of those teams, not named North Carolina and Miami in the Atlantic Division, not in the Atlantic, in the Coastal Division and the ACC, is going to probably most likely get to 8 wins. The favorite for that should be Pitt. So I'm going to take the over for that because the odds say take the over. But 7's a really damn good number for them. I mean, if they get to 7, that's a hit as well. Purdue at 5. I'm not high on Purdue at all. I don't even know if they can get to a bowl game. Honestly, I'm going to take the under. They might only be 3-4 wins. Honestly, Rice at 5.5. I'm going to take. I mean, I'll say this about Rice. They were really underrated in the conference. They actually went 3-5 in the conference. I don't know what their out-conference schedule looks like. I think they play Houston. I know that because I saw that earlier today. Um, you're in the Conference USA. Maybe it's sort of like a North Texas. You'd be up on some of the lower teams. I'm still gonna take the under though because of the perception, but I could see you guys getting into a bowl. San Diego State at 6.5. I'm gonna take the over. Don't never count out San Diego State in the Mountain West. They always consistently win 9 games. Give me the over at 6.5. San Jose State at 7.5. I'm gonna take the over as well. They do lose some, but at the same time, I do think they can get to 9-10 wins. I really do. SMU at 6. Give me the over. They get to at least 7-8 wins in my opinion. South Alabama at 4. Some people have this as one of those surprise teams in the Sun Belt that could maybe turn some heads. I personally think they are the second worst team in the Sun Belt on a roster rise. But I'm gonna go ahead and say probably under with them. I do think they're better than Louisiana Monroe, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the under there. But it won't surprise me if that's wrong. South Carolina at 4. Give me the over. I'm gonna be honest with you. South Carolina, they might get to 6 wins. They very well might under Shane Beamer's first year. The schedule is doable for 6 wins in my opinion. So we'll see, but I'm gonna say over there at 4 definitely, because even at 5 wins, I do think that I do think that's very realistic. Southern Miss at 5.5. They have a new head coach. Things went kind of south last year. For that reason, I'm going to take the under, but I do think they'll back in 2022 to what we're used to seeing from Southern Miss. Stanford at 4. That's a good number for Stanford. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, they can they take advantage and maybe sneak a few Pac-12 games? And the non-conference schedule, I know they have Kansas State. Actually, I think they have the toughest non-conference schedule in the country because they have Notre Dame, and I want to say they have BYU as the other game. So they might go 0-3 in the non. Yeah, guys, I gotta take the under on this. That non-conference schedule, they could very well go 0-3. I mean, even if they do go, let's say 2-1 in the non-conference schedule, they might have trouble even getting 3 wins out of the Pac-12. So I gotta take the under on that just because of the schedule. But it won't surprise me if they get to 5 wins or even 6 wins. But they do lose a lot from that roster. Syracuse at 3. That's a good number for Syracuse as well. I'm gonna take the under though because I think Syracuse. I think that's a bad situation there. TCU at 7. I'm gonna take the over because I think Gary Patterson's due for a big year. Temple at 2.5. I'm gonna go ahead and take. Man, that is a good number for Temple. I'm gonna go ahead and take the over. Their head coach is in his 3rd year. He's probably getting warm. I want to say they get to at least 4 wins. Tennessee at 6. Give me the under. Um, Tennessee, I think, is lucky to get in a bowl game, honestly. So give me the under. Texas at 8. I'm taking the under here. That schedule is really tough. First year head coach Steve Sarkisian. Would it surprise you if they go 7-5? Because I mean that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. So I'm taking the under. Texas A&M at 9.5. I'm gonna take the over because I personally think they get 10, 11 wins. The Alabama game is interesting, even though I do think you guys lose that. And that basically got announced today that will be the SEC night game that they do every year. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the over with that. Almost done here. Texas State at 4.5. I'm going to take the over. Texas State, they're heading in the right direction. They get 5-6 wins, in my opinion. Texas Tech at 4.5. I'm taking the under. There's going to be a team in the Big 12 that gets only 3-4 wins. That's going to be Texas Tech, in my opinion. So give me the under there at Texas Tech at 4.5. Toledo at 8. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. They could very well be the best team in the MAC. I think it's between, I know I said Buffalo and Ball State earlier. I forgot about Toledo. They could very well be there as well. Give me the over there. Troy, they're heading in the right direction, Troy. They could very well be the 4th best team in the Sun Belt. 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. Pretty close. I'm kind of on the fence with this, but I'll take the over, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Tulane at 5. That schedule is very tricky for Tulane, but I think they find a way to go bowling, so I'm going to take the over. There, interesting note about Tulane, they are I think number 2 in the FBI out of the Americans, so interesting note there. Tulsa at 6.5. They're coming off probably the best season in a while. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. I know they're losing a lot, but I'm going to say they at least get to 7 wins. Give me the over. UAB at 7.5. That's the thing about the Conference USA. Like, it's usually UAB, but at the same time, they're not bringing back as good as a team as they were maybe previous years. I am going to take the over because I like Bill Clark a lot, but it's very possible the Conference USA is at 8. The Conference USA championship is 2 8-4 teams going at it. UCF at 9.5. I personally think UCF might be in for a big year. They brought in Gus Malzahn. That is an upgrade from what they had. Josh Heupel, who decided to go to Tennessee. I'm going to take the over. I think they get to 10, 11 wins. UCLA at 7. That's a good number for UCLA. Chip has to win this year. I personally think they're a 7-8 win team, so I'm going to take the over. But you could talk me into taking the under. UNLV at 1.5. I do know they are the worst team in the Mountain West. I'm going to go ahead and take the under. They'll get a win somewhere, but I'll take the under. USC at 9. That's a good number for USC. I personally think that USC should be the favorite going into this year for the Pac-12 South at least. So I'm going to take the over because I personally think it might take 10, 11 wins to win that division in the Pac-12. South Florida at 3. Man, it's going to be between them and East Carolina and Temple. You know, I'm going to take the over. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're probably the most talented out of those 3 teams I just mentioned. Um, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that they go ahead and and probably win 4 or 5 games. Give me the over. Utah State at 3. Give me the over. Blake Anderson's gonna have that team at least fighting to get into a bowl game. Utah at 8.5. Some people are high on Utah. Some people are high on Utah. It's kind of a mixed bag of feels with Utah. 8.5 is a good number. I'm gonna take the under, however, because I personally think that they might be the 3rd best team in the Pac-12 South. UTEP at 3. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and take the under. I don't think they'll be. They might be the worst team in the conference USA. I don't know if they're the worst, but they might be the worst. UTSA at 8. I mean, this is a little bit surprising here. UTSA at 8. I didn't know they had a good season last year. I'm gonna go ahead and take the under. Give me UTSA. Give me the under. Vandy at 3, under. The SEC is going to be tough. Even like 12, 11, 12, and 13 has shots to get into a bowl game. Everybody except Vandy has a shot to get into a bowl game, in my opinion, in the SEC. So give me the under with Vandy. Virginia at 6. I'm just going to trust them, and I'm going to take the over. I mean, it is very possible that they may even win 8 games. I kind of mentioned it earlier. The culture's too good there with Bronco Mendenhall. Give me the over. Virginia Tech at 7. Give me the under on this one. I am not high on this team at all. I think it's very possible they miss out on a bowl game. Give me the under. Wake Forest at 6.5. Um, I don't think they'll get to 9 wins per se. I think 6.5 is a really good number because I think personally they are a 6-7 win team. Man, I like Dave Clawson enough. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. Maybe they surprise us and get 8. Washington at 9. I'm very high on this team. Give me the over. I think it's very possible they get to 11 wins. Washington State at 6. I'm going to go ahead and take the under. I do like their coaching staff, but at the same time, I don't really think they have a lot going for them. I think maybe 2022 is kind of their year. I'm going to go ahead and take the under there. But I don't think it's going to be a massive under. Like, I don't think it's going to be worse than 4-8. West Virginia 6.5 over. They'll get to 7-8 wins in my opinion. Even though one of their 4 to 5 losses will be to my Maryland Terps. Yep, that's coming to you. Week 1 West Virginia, but I do think you win 7-8 games at the end. Western Kentucky at 5.5 over. They have a good coaching staff. They'll find a way to get to a bowl game. A few more teams here. Western Michigan at 6. They have a good offense. I know that. It's very tough for some of these MAC teams. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to take the under because I know the defense is terrible. So I'm just going to take the under. Wisconsin at 9.5. I'm going to take the under here because I don't think they're any better than 10 wins. If I thought they could win 11, I would take the over. But since I only think they can win up to 10, I'm going to have to take the under here. And then Wyoming at 8.5. Man, they must be wow. Okay. Wyoming must be really bringing back a good team. And I can see Wyoming maybe taking advantage of a very weak Maryland division. I mean, they're probably number 2 on those boards. I am going to take the under, however, because the way Wyoming plays, every game 16-13, one mistake, game's over. So I'm going to have to take the under there. But I do think they could get to 6, 7, 8 wins. Rutgers is not on here because because of laws in New Jersey. We're going to put the number at 4, and we're going to say under on that. Just to let you all know that I wasn't excluding Rutgers. We're just going to put the number at 4. I think that's what it would be. Most likely I'm going to put under on that because I don't know if they could get better than 4-8. But anyways, those are the opening lines. I'm sure I'm going to be banging on some of these. I'm sure you all should be banging on some of these as well. Thanks for watching. McD the Beast signing off. Yeah.